It seems like a mystery is afoot, and who better to solve it than the gang of mentally unstable idiots at Limbus Company. Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to another afternoon stream. Today, we are going to be checking out Limbus Company's new update. That being the new story interlude, TimeKilling Time. Oh. However, first, I did grab a few summon tickets, so we are going to do one multi to start off the stream. Current new units on the banner are, of course, the District 20 Euro Divi Hong Lu and the Everlasting Ego for Faust. Fingers crossed. And we didn't get anything. Dang. Well, I kind of figured that happened, to be honest. I'm not exactly surprised. Ah, well. But there will be a few opportunities, since after all, with this event currently going on, we've got we got 2 potential 10 pulls up for grabs, along with a bunch of ego shard crates. So it is possible that we could force grab Hong Lu in, like, the absolute worst case scenario. But yeah. Let's go ahead and get things started with the new event. A Scandal in Time. How mysterious. Hehehe. Don Quixote loudly and obnoxiously flaps through the newspaper in her hands while peppering a few insightful chuckles. Unfortunately, I now know exactly what this means. And... oh! That she will continue to try and draw my attention until I acknowledge her at the most appropriate moment. Okay, Don Quixote, fine. What is it? Oh, Manager Esquire, dost thou know that the city's upstart companies, such as one Limbus Company, must always pay close heed to the ever-changing world around us? Heed thee hither, read thy newspapers, Manager Esquire, and do keep thyself up to date on the events of the city, as Merceau and I, Don Quixote, do ere every morrow. I'm gonna up the volume a little bit. But just to go along with it, why don't you? Pretty sure she's talking about Merceau in one of his morning routines. You know, the one with the newspapers. Ah, the newspaper routine, where he wakes up before the crack of dawn, parks himself on a chair, folds one leg over the other, in exact 90-degree figure 4 leg lock position, and peruses the morning newspaper? Uh-huh, that. Guess it left an impression on her. Bet she'll be back to her usual self in a week or so. Hearken unto me, art thou paying attention? Yep, totally. So, what's new? What, did an article mention us or something? Oh, how did thou not know? Wait, really? Forsooth, feast thy eyes on this on page 3, though it is quite regrettable that we were robbed of the chance to be on the front page. Huh? Page 3? We're really starting to put our names out there, huh? Don Quixote and Rhodia, the 2 sinners who are guaranteed to draw the full attention of whichever space they inhabit, were speaking. It was only a matter of time before the other sinners began crowding around us, curious about the commotion. Ahem. A dramatic conclusion to the mysterious disappearance at T-Corp. Shocking! The perpetrators to this mysterious case has been revealed to be none other than the prestigious Edgar family, appalling the general public. Heathcliff is not very happy about the fact that his family's drama has now become common gossip. Well, I don't think we need to hear that part. What else does it say? With small assistance from some wandering bystanders who happened to be lost in the area, and with the most admirable heroics of the T-Corp Class 3 collection staff on the scene... Wandering bystanders, is it? Perhaps that particular denomination refers to us. Bystanders? They're treating us like we were barely there. They didn't even mention our company name. Aw, come on. Those time collectors weren't even there. This is within the expected range of behavior of news media. Well, there may be those who seek to interview us after reading this very article, mayhaps. Yeah, I'm sure they'll have a grand old time looking for wandering bystanders for an interview. Very descriptive. I doubt anyone will pay us much attention, Don Quixote. Better not set yourself up for disappointment. And we were standing there for a good moment in a big group chattering about the article when someone slowly but smoothly walked between us. Excuse me, would you be employees of the Limbus Company? You fellas are... I'm sure you're already aware of the reason for our visit. Oh, I welcome thee here! Long and hard have I awaited thy arrival! Now, from whence shall we begin? Whoa, is she actually here to... she actually here to interview us? No way, Don Quixote wasn't just losing her mind at nothing. I was not told any interview would be taking place. Hi, where'd Verge go at a time like this? Now, where'd I put that leftover hair gel from Heath's makeover? Ahem, thou may commence. Alright then. Verily, I shan't rightly take all the credit for what we have accomplished here. Will you be making your tax payment in installments? Huh? Okay, we're clearly not on the same page here. We're the tax collectors from T Corp's Time Collections Agency, currently on a mission to collect your overdue time tax. Those ilks are never bringers of good tidings, indeed. Wait, time tax? No, that doesn't make any sense. We already paid our time tax in full when we went through the T Corp Nest immigration process. Virgilius said, a few days ago, aboard Mephistopheles. Are you sure we don't need to pick up a timepiece for each of us to carry? You probably know this already, but in T Corp, everyone must carry a timepiece. Yes, I know the rules. But for every rule, there is always room for an alternative that offers a bit more flexibility. Of course, I don't suppose it's listed anywhere on that pamphlet. Outsiders seeking short-term stay at T Corp can pay the appropriate time tax for the length of their stay to be exempt from the relevant obligations, instead of going out of their way to abide by T Corp's rules. As you may have expected, anyone born outside District 20 must go through numerous hoops before they can be issued a timepiece. So we elected to pay 30 days worth of time tax on the spot before entering T Corp's borders. Impressive. It can't have been cheap. Yet I wish to wear a watch as well, like Idiotus does. Haven't I already made it clear that this is not a fashion item? As I've said so in the past, the company has no budgetary concerns. It's a given they'd be taking care of such expenses. We're finally starting to operate like a real professional company now, huh? Cursed rabbit, it is indeed me. Yeah, there must have been a minor miscalculation or something. Maybe we fell slightly short of the amount we had to pay? It hasn't even been 30 days since we arrived here, though. Well, I'm sure we can pawn away what's stuff to fix the amount to around an error. Easy peasy. Heathcliff muttered, gesturing towards Sinclair and Hungley with his chin. If it'll help pay for the time tax, then sure. Oh? Maybe. I didn't pack much when I left, though. Well, let's hear the damage. How much time tax do we owe ya? Currently you are... 10,040,000,000 on behind in time tax payments. What? Did my hearing get worse or something? I heard 10 of 40 and the rest just kind of flew right over my head. Time tax? Ah, yes. In the cursed land of T Corp here, Oak, they don't pay with regular money. They instead pay with your time. Like, you literally will have fewer hours in a day because you pay with time. People in T Corp need to wear a special pocket watch in order to keep track of how much time they have accumulated. And then you can barter that for things like goods and services. Or if you're rich, you can just give yourself more hours in a day. The rich people can have like almost 30 hours worth of time in a day, potentially moving at like 2 to 3 times normal people's speed. It's pretty impressive. For that much money... Oh, we might have to make a brief stop in my place first. What other options do we have? If we don't... I mean, if we can't pay the tax... Can't pay the tax is not an option. Your only options are the following. Make your payment with time or money. With interest, of course. What the hell does making payment with time even mean? Now that I think about it, I remember someone talking about paying with time before. Never really cared to find out exactly what they meant, though. Yi sang? Heathcliff? Know anything about this? I have not once failed to make my payments during my residency at this nest. Thus, I know not what transpires on an occasion in which one fails to pay for the time tax. I've never been involved in messy business with taxes like... I've never been involved in messy businesses like taxes at the manor, and in my backstreets days, boss dealt with the complicated shite like that for the rest of us. Did see a few poor souls getting dragged away because they failed to cough it up, though. Well then. With their not-so-helpful answers, my mind immediately began to wander toward Faust, who I hoped to know something more about this than the two of them, and that's when Otis suddenly and defiantly stood between us and the collectors. This is completely unreasonable. What kind of shoddy calculation led to this nonsensical figure? Tax calculations in T-Corp are always exceptionally reasonable. The clock's ticking. Would I be correct to assume you lack both the capability and will to make your fair payments? Wait, we don't have to escalate this. Can we get a timeout? Your choice of words may be quite unwise. Cry and whine all you want about not wanting to escalate things when you've got 10 billion on in your pockets. I won't recognize your opinion as anything of worth otherwise. No? Then shut up and stay out of our way while we deal with this obstacle. Paying with time can totally have a double meaning. Paying with your age or slavery. Yeah, pretty much. Obstacle that dares to stand in our path. How exciting. A 10 billion on death. 10 billion and 40 million on, to be exact. Oh boy, time for violence. Now, while I do have a bunch of teams that could theoretically take on this event, the team that I will be using for this is, of course, my Poise team. Since this is the only team I really have that is up to the, that is, like, max level. For those of you who don't know what this team consists of, it consists of Blade Lineage Mentor Merceau, Blade Lineage Salsu Don Quixote, Blade Lineage Salsu Faust, Blade Lineage Salsu Yi Sang, Captain Ishmael, and Edgar Family Butler Ryoshu. Time for the Poise team to inflict some violence. Alright, I've seen these guys before. These ones have usually the same stuff. No, wait, these are different. These are definitely different. Okay, let's see. G&T Tremor Count, Inflict Tremor, Inflict Fragile, Inflict Tremor. Consume 3 Tremor Count itself, gain 1 Borrowed Time Count. Gain 1 to 4 Haste, Clash Power Up at Fragile next turn. Unit is more bind than has haste. The borrowed time effect staggers, the unit gets staggered. Interesting. Alright then. Alright. Merceau's gonna win that clash, no problem. The others might have a bit of trouble though. Ryoshu's gonna stab someone with a kitchen knife. Ah. My avatar is indeed in 3D. But yeah, this seems like it's gonna be a bit difficult.
된다면 사활을 건다.
Damn it. Of course Don Quixote was the one that didn't flip heads. Oy. Whoa! That was not pleasant.
살을 베어내고
Thankfully we got Blade Lineage Marceau here to help carry.
너덜너덜하잖아. 일단 정신 못 차리는 놈 대가리부터 뭉개.
Okay, we're finally starting to gain some momentum in this.
전투응대에 나선다.
These T-Corp enemies are always super annoying just because of the fact that they have such like high rolls, and like they usually have like a lot of single coin skills, and then it's just like a high roll will just like counter pretty much anything, so it's like really difficult if you get super unlucky. Ooh, alright. Alright, looks like we turned things around. No crit. Crit. Nice. Yeah.
육참. 흉터의 결과야.
기세가 수그러지는군. 반격의 기회다. 확실하게 갈라지는.
Alrighty, that is the tax collector swiftly dealt with. A T-Corp staff in a different uniform approached the sinners as both sides went on the defensive. Considered hostile individuals by T-Corp, and we will use force to... I like that. How thrilling. This is bad. This seems like a great time for Virgilius with his intimidating glowing eyes to appear. Man, weren't things much better between us when the guide bud only... us and the guide bud only a few days ago. Feels like it's been forever since then. Come on, don't glare at us like that. We had our reasons. They showed up out of nowhere and tried to extort a whole 10 billion on... 10 billion and 40 on, to be exact. You really like saying that, don't ya? Jeez. Aim to be a big YouTuber or something? Oh, not exactly. I honestly just stream for fun. Like, I've literally just stream for fun. I mostly stream on Twitch, and again, like, YouTube is mostly like my VOD storage site and stuff, where I multi-stream to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. Yeah, point is there's no way we owe him that much money. We're kind, law-abiding citizens who are brimming with the sense of justice. Hear, hear. Virgilius listened quietly for a moment to this, as the singer chatted on like they were part of a comedy skit. Yes, I agree that 10 billion on in taxes does seem unreasonable. However, it's a mystery to me how no one stopped to think for a second about the troubles you might spark by starting a meaningless scuffle like this in the middle of the street, no less. Virgilius let out a deep sigh before turning towards the T-Corp employee. We find it regrettable that this incident has led to bloodshed. However, 10 billion on in time tax is unacceptable. I'm sure you know full well that 10 billion on's worth of tax isn't the kind of money we can simply fork over in the middle of the street. I believe it would have been more appropriate if you would provide us with some context as to how this number came to be, instead of immediately marching up to us and demanding we pay a time tax. I admit that such an absurd amount of time tax levied on your group is almost unprecedented. We have been summoned to an emergency meeting in a relevant office to address the severity of this incident. I see your point. Why don't we move this conversation to the collections office in the relevant jurisdiction area for now to discuss possible solutions. Like, that is a very large amount of money.
승부수가 먹혀들었군. 판세는 완벽히 우리에게 있어. 정착지를 찾을 때까지 이 기세를 잃지 않기를.
Six point 5-3 Case of the Gallows. The truth behind this absurd amount of time tax levied upon us was much simpler than I expected. About a week ago, a large-scale, unauthorized temporal leakage phenomenon was observed at the Wuthering Heights Manor, which shot you up several stages in the progressive time use tax bracket due to the immense amount of time leak. A temporal leakage phenomenon? It refers to a deceleration in the flow of time within a certain physical field. In your case, it wasn't even a static deceleration field. It moved all over the manor for a good while, too. We measured about 4 hours worth of time in the process. What the bloody hell is she blathering on about? A deceleration in the flow of time within a certain... She must be referring to the moment which Dante granted us celerity as we were in pursuit of that man at the manor. Impossible. The manager's ability was activated for less than 30 minutes. It's most likely that your 4-hour measurement is a calculation error. No. Considering the odd sensation as we had experienced as we departed the manor, it's most probable that no error occurred in their calculations. Do you recall, Dante, as we left behind the manor a few days ago? Aha! Marceau, is there aught wrong with thy daily routine? We had just returned to Mephistopheles after the incident at the Wuthering Heights Manor. Heathcliff is wanting to die. Most sinners were keeping to themselves. The clear look of sorrow on Heathcliff, however, Don Quixote's ever-cheerful voice like always constantly shouted through the silence. I have identified an anomaly. We should have been issued the morning newspaper, not the evening newspaper. This is inconsistent with the amount of time we spent at the manor. Perchance 'twas an innocent mistake? As long as I've been a passenger of this bus, morning papers have been delivered during the designated morning hours, and evening papers have always been delivered during the designated evening hours. The possibility that they've made a mistake cannot be completely ruled out, however the likelihood of that is minuscule. Oh, now that I'm looking at it, that's a sunset, not a sunrise. I couldn't tell because of the lack of color. This cannot be! This must be the early hours of the morrow, is it not? I may have an idea as to how this inconsistency came to be. Right. The TT4 protocol. What's that? Temporal velocity synchronization device. Or something like that. I've seen an advert for it once. Luxury solution to all your time synchronization needs. Enjoy equally leisurely hours together. Or some shite like that. Oh, 'tis quite unlike thee, Sir Heathcliff, to use so many complicated words in a sentence. Pray, shall someone explain it in plainer language? It is an apparatus for equalizing the velocity of time for all those affected individuals under the TT4 protocol's influence. Forsooth, I thought it was quite odd how someone so affluent in time was moving and speaking at the same speed as the rest of us. Then with this information, it can be concluded that the time we have experienced within the manor was flowing at a faster rate than the world outside. That's a coherent explanation as to why the evening paper, instead of the morning paper, was issued. Good. Now that curiosity is sated, don't suppose anyone has any issues tackling a new job? The LCA has sent us a request to track down a distortion. As for more detailed information. So, activating my ability within the TT4 protocol caused... Yes, indeed. It was akin to tampering with an already accelerated flow of time. From an outsider's point of view, it would have appeared as though more time than was actually spent was leaked. This bloke knows what he's talking about. Also, you didn't just manipulate time on a personal scale. Like I said earlier, you affected the flow of time within a physical space. Let me remind you that it wasn't even a static field. It moved all over the manor. Honestly, this situation is completely unprecedented. Right. They used to activate it only on special occasions, like when you had plenty of guests over for a visit, because it's so bloody pricey. So the time tax or inflated tax bracket multiplied by the surtax per volume for the physical space covered by the temporal manipulation. Yeah, no wonder it adds up to this insane number. It ain't like we knew something like this would happen. Well, anyway, you have 2 payment options to settle this time tax debt. Oi, options? It ain't like bags of 10 billion on grow from a tree, innit? Option 1, cash payment. Option 2, time payment. Yeah, about that. What's that supposed to mean anyway, paying with time? It means... Oh. The employee, who was about to answer our questions with painfully observable annoyance, suddenly jolted at the sound of an alarm. Understood. Just got a call that we're ready to hold the emergency meeting regarding the incident. Olympus Company may send 2 individuals to the meeting to represent your company. Ah. No need to tick-tock and fuss, Dante. Dealing with complicated matters like this meeting is one of my responsibilities. I'll be joining him to discuss the possible solutions to this incident, so please keep the sinners under control. Except you, Miss Faust. You're with me. Understood. Make another mess while I'm gone, and... Let me just check to make sure I actually made the stream announcements. Am I actually live right now? I have internet issues all day, so I'm not exactly sure. Okay, yeah. Just making sure. They're leaving us here like this? But isn't this whole mess about basically what'll happen to us? So, this isn't anything serious, but... What's Marceau doing on the gallows? What? Marceau, what are you doing up there? I was told to stand here, so I have done so. Who told you to do that? I did. Just trying to be helpful with you and your friend's little time tax problem. I thought all employees were supposed to be in an emergency meeting. Whoa, a clock with legs! How fascinating. So in order to submit you for consideration at the upcoming expo, you might even be worth a participation trophy. Remind me of the time when some hapless soul submitted a timepiece to double as a compass that had a rather tragic and critical design flaw. You could tell the time or find your path, but never both at once. Tell directions or tell time. It was only one thing or the other, leaving you lost in time and stranded in the streets. That was no good. Not at all. Not better than a clock taped to a compass at the end of the day, is it? Oh, right. TT5-2 protocols operating in experimental capacity within the office space. So don't you forget. Anyone not synced with the daily standard time might find this a little disorienting. So keep that in mind as well. What? Now that's the look of someone who's never once heard of the TT5-2 protocol, eh? TT5-2 protocol, as the name suggests, an invention to address the temporal deficiency problem present in the TT4 protocol. It's doing test runs at only a few select T-Corp offices, so if you do ever feel the urge to leave your impressions of this new shiny thing, feel free to jot down a few words on the bulletin. Wait a minute, who wrote that 3-star review? The man, who we presume to be a T-Corp staff member, seemed very adept at holding a one-sided conversation with zero external input. Not that any of us could keep up with how fast he was speaking anyway. Anyways, if you're ready, let's get cracking. I am ready. Wait, I don't know if it's a really good idea for something that looks like the rope extending from the intimidating machine tightened around Rousseau's throat. Is this what it means to pay our time tax with time? Getting hanged from the gallows? Please call it by its precise given name. Temporal scale gallows. It measures the exact amount of time you owe, sucks that time right out of you. That wasn't the original name, mind you. There was simply too much hubbub and hullabaloo about its excessively long name, which is approximately 58 words, or letters. Could someone ask him what'll happen to Marceau? Is that thing going to kill Marceau? Kill him? Nonsense! She's a very gentle machine. That is simply preposterous. However, spoken in such a manner, oft portends that events of even greater ill fortune shall befall us. I'm not so sure as to what might happen, actually. Suppose it'll like tell 10 billion ons worth of time out of your friend. Stop being so obtuse. What is that even supposed to mean? Is he going to be stuck like that for 10 billion hours or something? What? Well, no, not exactly. Let me tell you about T-Corp's particularly generous system called the 4-hour daily minimum time guarantee policy. How generous, Even when worse comes to worse, every citizen is entitled to the right to enjoy a minimum of 4-hour days. According to the T-Corp Public Welfare Council, 4 hours is the absolute minimum of hours in a day to guarantee human survival. Survive being the key word here. My, sucking 10 billion and 40 ons worth of time from your friend was too much. Which I suppose. Look, says measurement error. That rarely ever happens. Wait, you pulled the lever when you didn't even know it was going to happen? Just out of curiosity? Of course. 10 billion on of time tax is a historically unprecedented amount of debt. So I had to see what would happen. You could land first place in the lottery and you still wouldn't even come close to making 10 billion on, and that's before taxes. I'd say you belong in a museum of history if I'm being honest. Besides, I haven't seen anyone with more than 150 hours in time tax debt willingly step up to the gallows before. Anyone beyond that usually chooses to run and digs themselves into an even deeper debt hole. Point is, I scarcely expected someone in a 10 billion on time tax hole just walk up there like that. What is wrong with this guy? Bro just casually stuck poor Merceau in the gallows. Awaken, Merceau! Prithee, surrender not to such machinery! Thou art unharmed? I am alright. Why, don't you get down from the gallows for now, Merceau? Virgilius and Faust, who returned just as this incident occurred, were both glaring at us with expressions that were anything but friendly. Ah! Something tells me Virgilius is not too much of a fan of us getting into hijinks that could involve potentially killing one of the employees. Oh. Well then, that seems like an issue. Momentary technical difficulties, folks. Let me see. There we go. We're also somehow still live, which is surprising. Let's see, the adventure of the three detectives. Oh boy, this seems fun. Okay, I can clearly see that you are both accusing me of letting the sinners run wild again, but we had our reasons. We have reached an agreement. And you explained things to them, right? Please tell me that the agreement doesn't involve us collectively dangling from that stupid gallows. The 10 billion on is certainly an absurd amount of money. That doesn't change the fact that we're still responsible for it. We did benefit from the extra time it granted us, and its use was something that wasn't mutually agreed upon before our unilateral activation. Because it was an unexpected event, no countermeasures could be put in place either. Yeah, but we didn't exactly have a whole lot of time to debate about whether I was allowed to slow down time or not. We really had to think on our feet back then. Felt a bit miffed about being treated as though I was somehow at fault for this. If you plan to sacrifice one of us to settle the debt, I request that you evaluate our worth based on individual merit. I've prepared performance evaluation sheets for each sinner precisely for one such occasion. On the last pages of those evaluation sheets are extra options that... I don't plan on leaving any of you behind to take the fall for the group. Besides, 10 billion on isn't the kind of money that you can settle with a sacrifice of an individual. But we did eventually find a reasonable compromise while you were wasting your time horsing around in front of the gallows. And that compromise is... we have been contracted to deal with a distortion. Guess they're really starting to put our names out there if they specifically sought us out to deal with a distortion. They have sought out other fixers and companies to deal with this issue first. We were their 6th choice after the first 5 failed to produce a meaningful result. Gotcha. Well, the stories are starting to circulate via word of mouth, I will not deny that. So what kind of distortion are we dealing with this time? This is a request regarding a series of similar, unsolved cases within T-Corp's borders. Some call it the case of TimeKilling Time. Several people have already fallen victim to the perpetrator. The case of TimeKilling Time. It is exactly what it says on the tin. A distortion is running wild, killing our time. Time is an asset here at T-Corp. It's not so difficult for us to track down the occasional time robberies by tracing it, but in the case of time-killing time, the killer doesn't leave any traces. It's simply gone, completely removed and untraceable. No such thing has ever happened before, thus the significance of this case cannot be emphasized enough. That's why we formally request that you solve this case for us. In return, we will exempt you from your time tax debt. Thus arriveth once again my time to shine. According to a book I have perused in my recent days, any and all detectives working to solve cases of urban nightmare or beyond are issued the Special Investigator Badge during the course of their employment. It is a badge that may as well be a universal pass to command all kinds of aid regarding the detectives? Fixers! We plan to issue you those badges, yes. Wahoo! Much I have longed to add one such badge to my collection. Perchance thou shalt allow us to keep the badges once the case is dealt with. Nay, I demand that I be awarded at least 3 badges. One for my private collection, one for display, and one for business, so that... Shut it, lass! Right, what are we waiting for? Let's crack on. Wake this distortion. Get the hell out of here. I hate dealing with money problems. I value your enthusiasm, but I would also appreciate if you could allow others to finish their sentences before cutting them off and going on a long tangent of your own. The problem is that they don't want all 13 of you running amok in an effort to solve the case. Indeed, I can't have your